All right. Welcome back, everyone. Run It Back Smash Bros. Wisconsin podcast, episode number 9. I actually know the number this time.
I had it in the back of my head just in case you forgot it.
I pay attention. Well, it's because I watched back last episode and Ryan said,
Yeah.
I'll go grab it. And then I talked over him when he said the episode number. So
Yeah, I did say the episode number and nobody said anything, so I just let it slide.
I did not hear him. But speaking of banger episodes, we got a special guest. No, I'm just kidding. We got a very, very, very special guest. Sophist, aka Teddy, aka Theodore, aka Sophist.
Yeah. For today, we're just gonna go with Sophist so as not to confuse the viewers, right?
I guess
Correct.
the two Teddys would be allowed to say Teddy, but not the rest of us because then they get confusing.
True, yeah. If Teddy says Teddy, then they can sit there talking about Teddy.
Yeah, Teddy can say
Unless
Teddy.
bro's
I
like
can say
talking
Teddy.
like third person or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
We're
royal
all
we.
talking first person here. We're all good. Yeah.
Wait, what's the origin of your tag, Sophist?
It's really just a play on some of my background because Sophist. It's a term referring to like a type of a group of thinkers back in the times of ancient Greece. They were known to be just people who liked to debate and argue just for the sake of the game, and like they were being dishonest and like underhanded to just try to convince people without being like genuinely believing what they were saying.
Oh, so Ryan.
So they were my
Okay, so bro is like canonically the thinker.
so I debated for many years in high school, so that's like kind of the background of it. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
so this is sort of just like making fun of what I did for this many years. I also did it in college, so that was like a big. This actually, Smash, was the competitive thing that I needed after I stopped debating, because debate was my main thing in high school. I traveled a lot for it. I was pretty accomplished in it, and it was that important aspect of my life, both competitively and socially. It was like sort of the background of a lot of my friend groups in that time. So now Smash, once COVID was rolling back and I was able to start going to tournaments, because I started largely going to tournaments in like summer 2021, that became my competitive and social thing, right? So this sort of filled the void that debate left for me. So there's sort of the connection between it.
I hate to tangent right away, but I think that is an important aspect of FGC community. Like Maslow, I don't know if anybody else has seen Maslow's great tweet, but he made an awesome tweet about how once you leave school, you have those activities in school. You have sports, you have clubs, you have these competitive outlets, and a lot of people just lose that once they graduate and they leave schooling and they leave these organized activities.
Right.
And so having an outlet like Smash or a different game or some activity that you can still feel those competitive aspects in your life is really important.
It's good because it also keeps you around a group of people your age without having to artificially create that. Because like when you're in grade school, high school, college, you're around a cohort of people around your same age. And like with Smash, although there's a slightly larger, window of how old people are, it still feels like there's a lot of camaraderie in that. And despite some of the age differences, you still feel like you're culturally like doing the same thing, which is just very cool. And so I agree. It filled the void that was left for me, and I think that because this is just such an important part of my life, just to kind of balance it out and create like a work-life balance for me, it's probably going to stick around for at least a few more years because of that.
So are you the Ryan of your friend group then? Like, do you go on saying like Ivysaur down air is not problematic and it's very hard
That's
to
just
hit?
that's like the only hill. There's you're just upset about this one hill.
You have rage baited
really
in every. I could pull up a clip of every episode you have done something to rage bait.
I'm not really a rage baiter, no.
I wouldn't say I'm a rage baiter either, but we'll see.
I do actually, to go back to like the honest thing, I think that's one other thing I really liked about the reading game community is the fact that it's actually a really unique cross section of like society. You get a lot of ethnic diversity, a lot of background diversity. Don't get a lot of gender diversity, but I guess we're working on that. And I think that that's super cool that you can sit down to somebody who's like, their parents are doctors or whatever, and then also there's somebody there who's just kind of like literally like lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Always
nowhere.
talking about
Actually,
where the parents are from, bro.
Noticing.
no.
The other thing is specifically about Smash is that, and I'm not super familiar with debate. I had some friends that did it throughout high school, but like I'm assuming that there's only like how many debate like tournaments would you go to a year?
So typically it would be sort of on like a prep season and then a competition season. The prep season would be in the fall. I would be in like a local club and then also go to some practice tournaments for the season in like November and December. So those would usually be like one or two of those in the fall. And then in the spring, so you know, the league was middle school and high school. So as I got more advanced, I would spend more time and go to more events. But starting at around sophomore year of high school, I was usually at about 6 events in the spring, like winter and spring. And that would be when I was here in the Midwest, because I used to be on the East Coast, but I was doing this both while I was on the East Coast and in the Midwest. While I was in the Midwest and while I was more advanced, I would usually be to like 5 events in the Midwest area, maybe 1 or so like elsewhere in the country, because there would sometimes be ones that were open to the whole country where you could like travel out. So my family would make little trips out of that. And then a nationals that would be somewhere in the country. It was in Oklahoma one time, but it conveniently, like 3 out of the 4 times I went, it was in Minnesota. So that made things a little easier. So yeah, typically like 5 to 6 a season.
Okay, but definitely like single digits. So like,
You got it.
I
guess
imagine you have like practice meets like weekly though.
Yeah, I would do practice meets to like learn concrete
Friendlies.
like pedagogical stuff, like getting taught by adults like how to do these things. And then you would also practice a lot, like just practice the presentation aspect of it.
But kind of what I was going for is you have like, and then each one you feel a lot more weight towards because there's fewer opportunities. Like when like for competitive running, it's like I would only have a certain number of meets per year.
You can just call it
and
track,
even-
bro. It's competitive running is crazy.
Well, like cross country and also track, and then like now later on in life, it's like road races and stuff like that. It's like if I'm training for this certain race, I have I have like 1-2 races a year. If you're doing like longer distance stuff, and so those are a lot. Like you are putting all that time in for only a few opportunities. If they go wrong, they just go wrong. Whereas like in Smash, you have so many opportunities. Like whenever someone is down about themselves about a local performance, I'm like, you can go to like 5 a week, you know? Or if you only go to the one local, it's like, okay, there's another one next week. Like, why do you feel so bad about your performance at this one event? You know?
I don't think
So
you want
at
it.
least for me,
I don't think you want it bad
What?
enough.
He's not a neater, guys. He's not a
well,
neater.
I'm saying if you are a neater, just need next week. You know? So it makes the losses not feel as bad, but you still will always remember the good performances. You just have
That's actually a good way to look at it. Yeah.
of times
That is a good way to look
you
at
do
it.
well.
I agree with Ryan a lot in that there are many opportunities for you to do well, and unless you are in like a friend group that's constantly talking about how the last bracket went and like like complaining about it and like reflecting on it, both like sharing in the joys of doing well and then also just salt tweeting to each other in a Discord, like aside from that group of people, no one's going to remember your bad performances, and they're just going to remember that one time that you made 2 upsets at a regional and did really well, and they're like, oh, this player's great.
Yep.
Right? Like they're not going to care about the fact that you went 1-2 this week ever.
If
and
you
I
go to 5
realized
West, 5 West Town Brawls in a row, you're only really going to remember the one that you did well at.
correct, and that's
and
the
other
only
people
thing
only
people
will.
are going to remember. Yeah, they're not going to care unless you go out of your way to be online complaining about how bad you did at a tournament. I can name some names, but I don't need to.
Bro, I
Not a drama podcast.
Not a drama podcast.
I knew some people who went from high school debate to college debate, and then they like became lawyers or consultants. Why did you choose to start playing a low tier in Super Smash Brothers?
Oh, I don't know. I was just having fun. I was having fun back airing people over and over again when no one was actually good, and the fact that I could space back airs meant that I was automatically better than my opponent.
Yeah.
And then I basically did that for
Real.
2 years, and then I started playing other aspects of the character and enjoying it. And then about 2 years later, I was like, wait a second, I should have been playing someone better this whole time, but I'm too far gone at this point. That's pretty much been my entire mentality since starting the game. But no, I just abused good tools and like got better at the game very quickly by being good at very specific things and beating people that way. And then, I don't know.
So,
Next game, Teddy, you and I are picking top 5 characters. Next game.
you're literally playing top 5 characters.
Yeah, you
You're
are playing a top 5
10
character.
character. You're playing a top 10 character. I mean,
Oh
big
my
deal.
god. I would argue I'm barely playing a top 20 character, but
No.
Okay, well, all right, buddy.
And now that we've gone into this nice deep dive into Sophist tag, other Teddy, do you want to do a deep dive into your tag?
yeah, I think that'd be a great way to spend the next 15 minutes.
That sounds like a great conversation.
Okay, so let's go into the local recap, and a lot of them I think are going to be driven by your experience, Teddy, because you went to a ton of these tournaments. You went to so we have B2L, West Town Brawl, Dark Matter, Pio Pummel, Phantasm, Thursday Throwdown, and then the Scoop for this last week. And you went to B2L, West Town Brawl, Dark Matter, Pio, Thursday. So you've gone to all but 2 out of the 7 or 5 we have. 7 we have. So do you want to tell us? And a lot of these you performed very, very well at, I think. Do you want to lead us through your experience? You can kind of be the navigator for these brackets.
Yeah, sure thing. So like Teddy was saying, I was able to make 5 events last week. If I had nothing else to do, I could have even extended it to like 8 tournaments in a row if I was crazy, because I could have done UWM Club would have been on Friday. I could have been to the Scoop yesterday, and then today is Construct, which I don't think I'm going to go to just because I feel like I want to save some energy before my work week starts again tomorrow. But yeah, that being said, 5 tournaments in a row is still a lot of fun. So B2L was first. Do you have like a... Oh, I see. You see.
Yeah,
You have it up here. Sweet.
There's a streamer. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So this tournament was funny because I placed 5th out of 24 people while having a losing record overall, which is really funny.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how VTOL will work.
That is how it works.
The
They
way
did
the
top-
bracket is set up is just weird. Like,
They
So-
did top 3.
yeah, I
They
think
did top
do,
3
like,
pools.
How did you get 3rd in your pool and got a first round bye?
I didn't. I got 2nd in my pool because I tied with Ascent
Oh, because it ties.
for 2nd in the pool, and then I was the higher seed, so that was the determining factor for me getting this 2 seed out of the pool.
Gotcha.
Well,
and
you
then
may
as a
have the
consequence of-
head-to-head.
Yeah, that it might have been that. I don't know. I think it might have just been.
I think it goes to head-to-head.
How does it draw
Yeah,
from
it-
that though?
Okay,
Oh,
I don't
because
know.
we're just-
I'm
we're
gonna
just talking about
completely
tournament.
derail us, but when I tied at B2L once, when it mattered for my UW Madison ranking, they had us play rock paper scissors, and I
Oh.
lost, and so I got like last at that B2L when I was supposed to be first seed in the pool.
There was no.
It was the week
Way.
you were out.
Okay, I was going to say I would not have done that.
We would not have allowed this to happen.
Anyway, let's talk about your
Anyway,
run.
it was a fun run though. I immediately was matched into a Rico, also known as Yowie Jesus, also known as Fat Sandwich. And they were playing Mega Man. And I know Mason pretty well. Sometimes they just play the characters they want to for fun, and like we'll have 3/4 of the season just dedicated to that. And this seems to be one of those seasons. And it's DDD Mega Man, not a great matchup, but I was just doing my normal thing. And I think that their brawler is like excellent. It's just that the other characters have certain issues with them that I could like name and get into. Like there's issues with the Pithra, there's issues with the Mega Man, and there's issues with the Crom. And like that's sort of what led to me also being able to beat them back at Summit. Because if you might recall, when Summit took place, all 4 of the vote-ins had some good sets. Juju had some good sets. Gavin Pack Smash had some good sets. I was the only one to take one though because I was able to cheese a Rico. So, but it was because they were also going Crom, and so it's like I appreciate the opportunity to have those wins, but I also know that like the brawler would just kind of step on me a little bit. because Brawler is tough. Brawler is really tough. But then I was also able to play against Eric. That, I think, was my favorite set this year, period. And that's because the narrative that I think all of you know about Eric is that he is just a very fundies player. He adapts very quickly. And I also am someone who adapts pretty well. I mean, I've heard that from people. That is kind of how I'm able to win sometimes, because I can adapt faster. That was just a set of adaptation back and forth for like 20 minutes. It was great. Like, it was a game 4 set. I think the 4th game was when Eric was able to just take like a high percent 2 stock because he just got too much momentum. Every other game, I think, was just a last stock time kind of situation. Very close, very fun. And the thing about Eric too is, like, the Wario is, I think, the character where he can showcase his skill the most, in a way. Just because I think, like, when I was playing as Bowser Jr. at Summit, Bowser Jr. is also a character that can play slow the way he wants to, but it also just gets 80% off of an up throw. And, like, that's kind of sucks. Because then he doesn't have to show all the ways that he can open you up to get you to 80, right? He only needs that one opening. And so it feels like there's less going on as the opponent. At least that's how I felt at the time. But against the Wario, he just had to outplay me a lot. And he just kept doing it when it counted. And that felt pretty cool to be on the receiving end of, in a way. Just because you know that, like, the opponent is thinking. Like, I never really feel bad losing to someone when they just clearly were doing things better, you know? But there were things that I did well, too. So it's just one of those sets where you feel pretty good coming off of it. And then I ran to Agnes, which sucks because DDD Sephiroth is really bad. And then... Oh, what happened? I was probably about to take it to game 5 with Ridley, and then I got hit with a combo where I think I took the 3 orbs, and then the orbs exploded when I was off stage, and then it comboed into fair, and I died at like 60.
I did see
balls.
that. You were up big, and then just died.
I was up big time, and then I died because I didn't respect the side B enough, which is my fault. But, you know.
Does Ridley do any better than DD into Sephiroth?
It's not great, but he has speed, and Agnes's movement is a little bit... Well, I talked about this on the Bad Habits podcast, but Agnes is, for all his strengths as a player, his movement is a little bit crusty, so I was able to get in on his space a little more than I think he would have liked me to, and that's how I was able to get that lead in the first place, but I wasn't able to close it out for that reason.
So you can't space DDD Becker in that matchup, I assume.
No, I can't use Becker at all. Like, at all. It sucks.
For this West Ham Brawl, we did have...
Shoutouts to Vencho for winning the tournament, by the way.
Vencho did not win the tournament.
B2L.
Wait, it was Eric?
He's talking about B2L.
Okay.
Yeah, B2L.
You did
Because
win
we
B2L.
just skipped over to West Ham Brawl.
I will say this was a crazy tournament for 2 of our podcast members. Crazy's up for interpretation. I think it was this tournament where Teddy went 0-2 and Ankit got
It's true.
4th, and then the scoop, or was it the scoop, or was it Thursday Throwdown where
Thursday
where like Ankit went like
Throwdown.
1-2 and Teddy got like 5th or something. So
Soul for soul.
yeah,
what can you say?
No, I had like 3 tournaments this week, and 2 were ass, and 1 was good. So
honestly, I thought you could have won this tournament. Well, not won, but I think you could have gotten to winners finals at least.
yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, it was like a couple % away from being me in winners finals.
Well, it just sucks because everyone who's played against Oats Mewtwo, because I played against it too. I have not seen the Mewtwo go like less than game 5 with anyone. Like, it's just like
I think he just has a clutch factor on it.
Yeah, at B2L he went game 5 with Riptide and with Agnes. He lost both of those, but it was just like game 5 with those, and then game 5 with me at the other B2L, game 5 with you. Teddy, he went game 5 with you too, right?
Game 5 with Black Tiger.
No, when I played the Mewtwo once at B2L, the B2L that we just closed out of, and I 2-0'd it. It was that matchup is ass. Like I truly think it's like maybe a +3 for Roy.
Oh, well, yeah, game 5 with Black Tiger too, and he beat Black Tiger. So it's just like, it's just a game 5 monster.
Yeah,
game 5 merchant, perhaps you might say.
But yeah, if you want to talk about your run as well, Kit, since this was a legacy run.
Yeah, what happened?
I
I wouldn't say it was a legacy run. It really was just like one good win. Because, well, actually, honestly, I was happy about the Spike City win and PML win too. Because, bro, the PML win, that set was actually like last stock, last hit. Like he's gotten really good. And I low key don't like DK Ken.
Yeah, that matchup
Um,
sucks.
I wouldn't say it sucks, but it's like annoying as hell. It probably is like evenish though. It's like weird because like DK is kind of feels like a sword character against Ken, which is like annoying. But he adapted pretty well. But I still managed to clutch it out. Dude, Spike City, he also has gotten really good because I used to clean him, but then when we played this week, I was down like 100% last stock and he was at like 0. And I was like recovering and he ran off Nair fastball to kill himself. I was like, there's no
Oh,
way. Dude.
Oh no.
And then I just won game 2, but like he kept it very like competitive.
I would like to again put out my think piece that and this relates to Teddy's run too, that O2ers no longer exist in Smash
I
Ultimate.
agree.
If you were playing this game,
Mm.
if you were playing this game 7 years into its lifespan, like you at least know how to play to like a decent degree.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Yeah.
one that's just terrible that still goes to tournaments in 2025.
Yeah.
I
There's
mean,
always
if
an
you-
occasional like new person.
Sure.
You can't zone out
But-
during your round 1 because if you zone out, you lose.
Like people that
Honestly,
went
yeah.
O2 this tournament were me, Gamma, who we both have PR wins, Solo, who's probably top 5 in Whitewater, Yabo, Twitter Clip Fiend. There really isn't a ton of what? Okay, whatever.
You
So,
had
yeah,
PR win, Twitter Clip Fiend.
I see the stuff he's doing with Footstool, Firebird, land on platform, like auto cancel up tilt.
Yeah, respect to Yabo because he beat Gamma last time they played. So how's
True,
that? How's
true,
that Twitter?
true,
Clip
true,
Fiend?
true.
That's the GOAT.
Oh my gosh, that is my goat. I do gotta shout out that is my goat. But yeah, no, like the like it's tough. I know Troy, who went on to get second at Thursday Throwdown in the later bracket we'll talk about. He went 1-2.
Big shout out Cal. Huge shout out Cal, the best player in the world.
Callahan.
If you stop camping under the platform for 1 second in the game, you will win every set you play.
Mm-hmm. I got to shout out Spike City too because I think we glazed over this, but he did just 2-0 me at B2L in pools.
Oh, really?
This was the funny part about it though. He 2-0'd me and then was the last seed out of pools, and so he didn't make it into final bracket.
Because you're the only person that he beat.
Correct.
So, and then his head-to-head doesn't help against the other person that went 1 and 3. Yeah,
that's correct. But that's just sort of an emblematic of the fact that everyone's gotten good, right? I was just a little lazy in some areas. I made some obvious mistakes I can think back on, but he also did a lot of things right and like really punished me whenever I was doing things I shouldn't have.
Well, he's Spike City, bro.
Like, he wasn't letting things slide, and I'm like, okay, you got it. Like I also wasn't really frustrated about how I lost there because it was just off of the fact that he played pretty well in the scramble, and I was throwing really dumb Gordos that lost to every single crown that he threw, which was totally my fault. And that's basically how it went. And I also went Ridley game 1 because I wanted to warm him up, and that was my fault. I got like 2 stocked. It was not good. It's one of those things where my Ridley is good in matchups where I am prepared for the matchup going in, but I don't have a very good level 1 game plan if I don't know exactly how my opponent's going to play versus him, in a way.
He beat Gamma in West Town as well, I think. Spike City.
Yeah.
Just to speed up a little bit, I want to shout out Verm, who beat Troy after being met with it in losers round 2, which I would have tilted immediately upon seeing that, but he locked in. Then he beat 9,000 Hippos, and then Sophist cleaned them up, but it was a good run by Verminator. Cal sadly couldn't continue because he got met with Satan as a character.
Hold on. Hop off my goat. Hop off my goat.
You'd agree with that though.
No, Julian's the GOAT, but he is playing Satan, the character. And I know Cal has been trying.
He's dropping Zelda permanently.
Thank God. Let's go. Let's go.
He said he'd keep him around. He'd keep Zelda around for Cal only.
That's crazy.
So
that is. I aspire to be a hater of that level. That is incredible work.
But I
also shout out to Morgos.
I
have to shout out to Morgos. Insane Morgos run, beating Kenneth, who had an exceptional run last week, and then Pack Smash, who has been performing very well recently.
And then this is the last set, I guess. Oh, also, shout out to Caden Steve for taking the whole thing, and for Oats Mewtwo for making it all the way back to Grands after winners. Beating a Stiggy, which is a
So
huge
my set
win.
with Oat after beating Eric was really fun.
That was a great set to watch. I think you had a comeback pretty much every game.
Dude, my first game was on JB4 Watch, and I won it.
It was
somehow.
crazy. You were at 120 on your second stock, and he had not been hit.
Um,
That was a
I don't
big
know.
rally.
And you
like-
and you won and you somehow won.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I didn't. For some
FTC.
reason, I didn't feel like I was in a bad spot. I don't know what it was.
Because he's Mewtwo, and you have
That's crazy.
Shoryu, and you kill him at 50.
I've seen enough.
I will
I've seen
say though,
enough.
and like I think it was game 5 or game 4, like you had to shore you at like 90 or something that just didn't kill him, and I was like, "There's no way."
It's probably on Kalos, where the ceiling is actually
Yeah, it was
you know,
probably
a little higher.
Anyways, this is the main thing we can talk about here if you guys want to get into this, but otherwise we can.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I felt like the Ridley games were like pretty standard. I didn't really have a lot of thoughts about it. The DDD games were something else though. I felt like because we played once before across last year, and I felt that was okay, but I also don't think you were playing your best, so I didn't really know what to expect. And once I took like game 4, I was like, okay, this is really doable. But then game 5, I feel like you downloaded pretty hard. Was it like a 2-stock or 3-stock? I forget.
It was a 3-stock. Yeah.
Damn, he just had it.
He was
in
like,
his
it's a
mind.
3-stock.
he was like,
Fact check.
Yeah. I agree that the Ridley Ken games weren't anything crazy. I told you this before, but I play Ridley against -1 a lot because he and I have played DDD Ken extensively. I've had issues game playing against him in the past, especially when we play at like UWM Club a lot. And Ridley has then been working for a while now, and it was largely working against you. But I'm like, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try something different. Which how this I think worked out, and it might have actually been misreported. I think I won game. You won game 3. I think I actually had to win 4 and 5.
Okay.
I think this is what I remember. Game 3 was very close, and then game 4 and 5, it might have actually been 2 3-stocks, or like a low percent 2-stock and then a 3-stock.
Crazy,
he said, "I have a
Let's check the
I
VOD.
adapt fast. I hear this a lot. Oh my
I
god."
mean, we can check the VOD, but here's basically what happened. I just started air camping you, and you had no idea what to do. That's basically what happened. You don't. You lose.
Okay.
So no, here's basically what happened. The thing about that matchup is I cannot do anything against your jump-ins on the ground. And so at this point, I have pretty much given up trying to beat Ken on the ground ever as DDD, because everything I throw out to potentially catch a dash in loses to jump in, merely on the end lag, right? Like I can even throw out an up tilt to punish a jump in, but if it's too early, I lose to jump in, right? So
that's fair.
you with that established, then I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have to lean into playing in the air, and then I have 6 different ways to land on you, and I would just basically be cycling through them. And it's one of those things where when you're below me, you can try to shield and parry, but if I'm max spacing, you can't really punish my max space there except with like a parry dash attack. Like you can't like run up down tilt that, so that's huge for me. I also have mix-ups out of inhale where you can't punish it unless you preemptively jump above me, or like are preemptively rolling behind me, or are disengaging completely. Because if I'm then inhaling in front of a platform, you can't jump above me and punish me for it. So it's basically just you disengage and don't get hit for it, or I just reset. So it's like a safe landing in a lot of situations. And then I would also mix that in with doing aggressive F tilts to catch the fact that you were like choosing defensive options a lot, and it covers spot dodge, it covers jump, it covers a bunch of things, like using pivot F tilt on the ground. That was like the only grounded option that was really working for me. And then it was just, as soon as I got a stock lead, you just had to jump in, and you never hit me again, basically. You were never able to hit me. So
what do you think of the matchup as a whole? Because I played Kilogram hours, and he was like, yeah, it's like pretty good for DDD.
it's like even, I think.
I think it's even. That's fair.
Yeah. And I think part of that is just because you are so explosive, and I also can't deal with pressure once you are hitting my shield. Like once you are hitting my shield, I'm so cooked because I can't spot dodge anything. I can't air dodge at anything because I'm so huge. You can just chase me.
Right.
It's all of that stuff is annoying. But if I don't ever let you get in, you're not going to have a good time. And at this level too, like me just getting a slight lead and like hitting you, swatting you away like a couple times in a row, I just know that you're annoyed then. And then you're going to be annoyed for the rest of the set, right? Because I win sets by forcing dumb situations in the air, and then people keep losing to them. And then I know I'm just going to win the set by like repeating the scenarios over and over again.
Right.
So that's sort of how I felt about that set.
Segueing on, we got just a quick little shout out to Untitled going up to Phantasm. I think he was visiting his family.
Mr. World Warrior.
Yeah, World Warrior.
Going all over the
he got
state.
second place, beating
Getting the run back on Homu, and then
run back.
beating reverse 3-0ing Oath, which is pretty crazy.
That was a huge one.
Have you guys ever played Oath?
No,
I've
but I
played
know
him
he's really
once
good.
at a B2L. No, twice. I played in my very first tournament here at Reentry, actually. He was on Palu and I was on Joker, and then I played him in Roy Joker. When I was playing Roy, he was playing Joker at B2L.
He's the GOAT. I love Ben.
He is the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
But yeah, big shout out Untitled, huge run.
He won game 5 with Ethan and Grands too.
Yeah,
It's great.
super
Really good.
impressive.
Really, really excellent performance.
Then we got Dark Matter. We're going a bit behind, so we can speed up a bit. But there was just a couple pretty cool wins here. I know RVDT had a legacy run. That set with Vensho was super, super close.
Wait, sorry. I just had an epiphany. I thought that I'd never played you before, Sophist, but we played that one Phantasm you went to. I forgot about that.
At the Edgeguard Invitational Qualifier Phantasm.
Yes.
Is where we played.
Yeah.
And it was a game 5 set.
It was a game 5 set.
That was the tournament where me and Mario got the Edgeguard spots. And then at Edgeguard Invitational, I got absolutely eviscerated by Oath, which is what I was going to talk about, because he is one of the players that just knows how to play defense against bad characters and never get hit. And that has not changed. So I respect him so much.
Someone couldn't go, so I did get to play in the Edgeguard Invitational.
You did. You were the sub.
I was the sub.
Yep.
So you've gone game 5 with all of us here on the pod.
Well, we've never gone game 5. We've never played in best of
game
5
3
setting. Game 3. We've gone elimination game, yeah.
So we've all tangoed. We've all seen each other's insides and been intimate.
Oh my god! Continuing, I got to shout out Amorgos and Oat at this tournament, because Amorgos, we already said he had a great West Town Brawl performance. This is a bit of consistency and then maintaining that really good performance and then continuing it here. I know he wasn't happy with how he played against Oat in loser semifinals, and I'm sure you weren't happy about how you played against Teddy against Amorgos in losers quarterfinals. But I have to say, as a spectator, watching this was probably one of the most fun sets that I'd seen in a while. The game 4 finish of like parry F smash to bring it to a game 5 was just like insane to watch, because that was such a close game, and it really could have been the end of the set right there. Just everything last stock, everything last hit. Really, really, really entertaining to watch.
I appreciate that set because it did a couple things for me. One is it reminds me that like sometimes it feels okay to get popped off on, you know? Like it feels okay because it means that the set was worth a watch, and like that the win also meant something to the opponent. I've talked about this at length actually with Aaron Baskin, because back when we started playing each other, like he used to be a huge pop-off person, but like he would pop off on me, and he said like, I just love, like if I pop off on you, that means that I enjoyed the set and I respect you as a player. And I'm like, yeah. And I think that goes for a lot of people. There's only like a couple players in the state, I'd say, who just kind of pop off all the time. But most of the time, if you're popping off, it's because there's meaning to it.
Not naming any names.
Moving on.
Not a drama podcast.
Moving on.
Again, I'm not dropping names just because I don't want us to get sidetracked. That's all I'm saying.
Shoutouts Fatalis for going game 5 with Mewtwo as well.
I cannot believe it's Mewtwo beat Sheik.
That
like,
is
just Mewtwo Sheik is an abysmal matchup.
That apparently
The
was
Phantasm upgrade.
extremely tough.
was-
Dude's actually the GOAT.
I've been saying this.
Yeah.
His Mewtwo is just better than his Game & Watch. Like straight up, like. And this is
Well-
coming from
No.
somebody. No, this is coming from somebody who hasn't even gone Game 5 with the Game & Watch. And I think that the Mewtwo is better, just because like
Well, Mewtwo is just the worst character.
Well, it doesn't matter about worst character, better character, because he just pilots it like.
I think he has a thing for charge characters, and Shadow Ball
Oh yeah, 100%.
and the mix-ups that he gets off of that allow him to play at his best. Is how I'll say that. I'll say.
Anyways, looking at this, we got Pio Pummel. It is Pio, guys, but we can call
Really?
it. Apparently, we can.
Okay.
It's Pioneer. It's short for Pioneer.
Crazy.
So
Oh, did not know that. Okay.
yeah.
there you go.
And even though I wasn't at
Pio
this
sounds
one,
better.
I still think I would have gotten second or third here, as I usually do with the Pio Pummels.
All right, what's your path?
Say your
Evan?
run. Say your run.
My
Yeah,
path here.
path.
Okay, listen. As
You're
usual,
seated. You're seated ninth. You're seated like ninth.
as
As
usual, I'm
usual.
seated ninth, so I'd probably be around where like, who is like seated ninth here? Probably like a Morgos or something.
Shadow. Yeah, Morgos Shadow maybe.
Or even like Mystic spot, right?
Yeah.
So put yourself in the Amargo Shadow like Mystic spot.
Yeah. I'll play
Or-
Babunga round 1, and I had the momentum from last set, so I win that one. And then
It
was
that?
like
Okay.
4 years ago, but okay, sure.
me and Sophist.
The Root Beer Rumble set was out 4 years
It was
ago.
it was 1
Okay,
year.
well-
It was 9 months ago.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Okay, well,
really?
Great clip. Great clip. Ubercroc, pull that clip
Yeah,
up.
pull up the clip, Ubergron. I'll send it to you. Me versus Babunga at Ruby Rumble. I didn't even win the set, but I won the set in spirit after that.
that's a who won this game kind of.
Just remember this. They're gonna remember the clip. That's all.
Yeah.
The people are gonna
He
care
just
about.
revenges like 8 times in a row. Did nothing. And he's
Good.
just shaking his head the whole time with the player.
I'm
Yeah,
laughing. I'm laughing so hard in the player cam. I'm like, there's no way this is going like what is happening.
Okay, so
Anyway,
you beat Babunga. You beat round two.
I beat Babunga. I'd say that's what, like a game 4. He'll take one.
Yeah. Humble 3-1. Humble 3-1. Yeah.
Me and Sophist get the run back. I think I win that again. I think I mash even harder than last set. I'm gonna mash triple hard. I'm gonna win that one.
You just double down. You triple down. You quadruple down.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
think I'm gonna do
Double
the
down.
mind game of like thinking more, but I'm just gonna mash even more.
Right.
I play Vensho 03. I don't take a game.
Tough, but yeah.
Then I go down to losers and I beat Agnes for the first time because I figure out that Sephiroth is a bad character and I can just play better because I'm a better player. I play Deku. That's like a +5 for Mario. I win that easy 3-0. And then
Yeah.
Astigmatism, we have a contractual agreement because I voted for Corin to win some weed contest on
I
Final
remember.
Heroes.
I still have that in my back pocket too.
Yeah.
You're saving that. You're saving that.
He owes me
Saving
one.
it.
He actually owes me 2 because I voted twice. So I get second.
Damn. A 2 gets you a JV4.
Yeah, the JV4 on me.
So you have a handshake and then you win a quick 3-0 and then you move on to grands.
And I get 03
Yeah.
by Vensho again.
Mm-hmm.
For real. For real.
Oh.
I see it. I see the vision.
I see the vision. I do see the vision.
On a serious note, some good runs here from Astigmatism and Deku as well. Deku did really, really well.
Great
Deku's
performance.
been doing really good. I've never played him, but I'm really scared because Diddy's like one of Ken's worst matchups. I'm just lucky that Diddy doesn't really exist in anywhere except for I guess just Deku.
Yeah, I played him in Wi-Fi once, and he is very good. And because like we both play characters that are hard to play on Wi-Fi, and I think he like performs super well like against like new players and new game plans because he just does like the same like Diddy stuff that kind of like wins neutral. So I think like being able to utilize, I think the only thing that he does that I've seen from his gameplay is he monkey flips a lot when he doesn't know what to do. But
He's
other
a
than
monkey
that-
flip merchant.
yeah, monkey flip merchant, yeah.
And you would up smash that and back air that, which is why you would win 3-0. And
Exactly. Me aside, like he's a great player. It's just that if you run into me, that's like tough. It's a tough draw. So
Got a shout out Verm. Got my first win. Got his first one on me after
Oh,
like
yep.
Oh,
that was
He's just
pretty
been
good.
beating really good people.
Yeah.
He beat Caden at Cross Up. He had an insane
Stiggy.
performance there. And Stiggy. Yeah, he's just been beating the PR. He's so much better than his algorithmic ranking would imply, which
we were just talking about that because me and Verm are 77 and 78 on the shoe stats. When like even I'm gonna be humble for a second. I think Verm has had a much better season than I have, a much better year than I think he's a great. I think he's better than me.
Whoa.
I've never heard you say those words in my life.
That might
is
be the first time I've
crazy.
heard that. Yeah.
That's
That
how you
is
know
actually crazy.
that's how you know this glaze is real. Like he should be like top 30 at least. Like that dude's crazy.
I gotta
Yeah.
agree. I gotta agree. Actually.
But
Verm is also
Damn.
he thinks about the game a lot. I was joking with him right after we played our set because I almost reverse 3-0'd him, but then he just did not let it happen at the very end. I just played him on Monday, right, at West Town Brawl. Talked to him for like an hour about the match. And then he immediately applied all the advice I gave him to beat me. I'm like, dang it, man. Why did I provide you such meaningful advice? And I'm like, specifically, what I talked to him about on Kit is the spot dodge habit, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, given the last set you two played. It's something he's working on a lot, and he didn't spot dodge, I think, at all after whiffing an aerial in the first 3 games, which is basically how I just kill him early most of the time. And so the adaptation is real, and he is very conscious about how he improves with this game, which is just super cool to see. I love men. So
Yeah, no, he's been on a tear. I think
Shout out
the
to the
spot
most
dodge thing
caked
was
up
also
guy in
what
the
like
scene.
messed him up in
No.
our set, or at least
No.
in King Me or something. Is
Super
he just
Drawn,
like
cut that audio.
I didn't hear a word of what any of you were saying, but continue.
Good.
It,
Oh my
it's okay.
God.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
whatever? All right, we can keep going.
Okay, anyways.
I was talking to Teddy, not you, okay? You're good.
Okay. Well, I was just saying that for the spot dodge habit that Sophist was talking about. I remember in King Me, I don't know, it wasn't exactly what like fucked him up against me, but like our game got all super close, but I remember it ended because he tried to down smash, and then I knew he was gonna do like a roll or a spot dodge, so I just ran forward and up tilted, and that's how he died at like 60%, and I was like 150 or something. Yeah.
you need to jump away and disengage, but he chooses like very committal defensive options often. At least he has historically, but he's been told the same thing by me and by many other players, and he is very consciously working on it, which is good. That just means that he cares.
Yeah.
Thursday Throwdown.
Yeah, with Greninja's probably goated too.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Thursday Throwdown 137.
I'm just saying disengaging with jump with Greninja is probably very good, just because of his jump.
No, it is. It is.
I'm sure it's good.
Oh, right. Makes sense.
All
It's
right.
pretty good.
Anyways, initial shout outs to Troy for bounce back from the West Ham Brawl. Really good performance. Didn't close it out at the end because Stiggy went like both characters and counter adapted and counter adapted, but good stuff to Stiggy as well, winning Thursday Throwdown.
Beating Skyward Hero though.
Yep, huge win over Skyward here. That is like a -10, but you know, big shout outs to Troy for winning winners finals there and closing it out in Grand's set. Or never mind. Well, you know what I mean. Teddy, you went crazy at this tournament. You beat Shadu, which I'm very happy because that's a bad matchup for Roy. And I also no disrespect because I've never spoken to you, Shadu. I hate your character. And I'm very happy to watch it lose. But great stuff.
He seems like a really nice guy. I didn't get to talk to him that much outside of our set, but
chill.
he's a chiller. He's a chiller. He's a cool dude.
But I hate your character.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about my run. I must have done something like so great on the Wednesday before this tournament because the seeding gods looked down upon me and smiled and gave me matchups that I have only played like 100 hours into. So for Pyramithra, I've beaten Sego. I've played so much with Nelu/Lotus. So I have a lot of experience in that matchup. I do think that it is probably a -1, or maybe even if I'm being extremely optimistic. I could see it. I think that Mithra is super annoying in neutral, but I just have a lot of experience. I know the edge guard is really good against the character, and I am good at not letting them nair your shield for free because Roy can always true punish with up out of shield on Mithra nair, which is like the one button they have in neutral that just invalidates Roy's approaching forward air and stuff like that. So
yeah, those make me question why you think it's losing anyways, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't.
Don't
yeah,
answer it. Don't answer it. Next set.
Okay. Yeah, and so then I played Teddy. Really fun set. I'm happy with this set mostly because I got my jab forward smashes at ledge. I got one that almost killed and one that did kill. And so whenever I'm getting jab forward smash at ledge and back air on reaction to ledge jump or up air on reaction to ledge jump, I know that I'm playing well. So those are the two signs that I look for when I'm like seeing myself play, and I'm like, okay, this is evidence that I'm like really locked in on the set. And I got those in that set. I do think that I definitely wasn't ready for the aerial like air camping mix-ups. Particularly game 2 was probably my opportunity to like close out the set. But you did fast fall, like I was reading a parry on a back air or a landing nair, and I did a release shield, but you did fast fall air dodge up tilt, and
That's the classic, yeah.
And that got me because I drop shield turn around to like do a grab
Tomahawk
or
up
drop
tilt.
shield turn around down tilt your shield that's safe and I can get more pressure after that. But you were up till hitbox was already there.
Even the
And then
commentators
I
were
think-
amazing. Commentators were like, "Yeah, Sophist always does that tomahawk up tilt," and they were like,
True,
yeah.
true. At game 3, I think you also locked in on because I only have like I really I don't play the DDD matchup so much ever since that Andrew / Untitled has dropped the character, so I only really have like 3 ways I get off ledge, which is either like roll, jump air dodge, or like drop from ledge aerial. And you got a really big punish. It may have been game 2. I'm not sure when it was. But the dash attack on my ledge regrab, I think that was like evidence that you're like, okay, now I see that you have a weakness in this spot. I'm going to exploit that to really try to push my advantage. And game 3 it was a little close. Like it was in the realm where Roy can win if you get like one down till F smash read in the corner. But I think that it overall was a pretty dominant performance, and you probably could have even made it a more of a like it could have been a 2-stock if you just I missed a few more ledge traps and you got a few more of your back airs basically because I felt like you were in control for that whole third game.
The thing about this set, I'll try not to talk about it too long. The thing that happened is that there were a couple ledge traps I did where I was like kind of giving up too early, where if I throw a Gordo to try to catch you going low and to just kind of reset the situation, there was the one time, the way you almost won game 3 by like maybe doing something crazy last stock, it's because I threw the second Gordo out too late and then tried to catch a roll in too late with up tilt, so I let you get past me. Yep. And then there was also in game 2 the situation where I had you without a jump, and then I tried to just cover your low recovery with fair, but then you went high, and then you beat me back to center. I'm like, dang it, like normally a lot of those are like just sort of like put those in, but I was like, you were mixing up in ways that I wasn't thinking you were going to, and then I was throwing away situations. I'm like, shoot, dang it, like what am I doing here?
No, I definitely felt that my
well.
recoveries were really good this tournament, particularly against Shadow, who's doing a lot of like runoff stuff, and then against Damsel, I really needed to mix up going high and low because she has all the tools in the world to be able to edge guard Roy. I don't have a ton of stuff to talk about for losers round 3 set against -1. He just beat Kit, so I knew that he was playing good, but I think everything he did just kind of fell up. Like all of the ways that a FGC character can be inconsistent in that game set happened. Like I SDI'd in through Ken Shoryu. He got weird buffer miss inputs, so like he would Shoryu like the soft version. I would just drop shield forward smash him. He barely missed up B, and I got countered it at ledge, and Ken and Ryu are just literally dead in that situation. Roy can always go out and back air you. There's no counterplay if you miss that snap to ledge. So it was just kind of a situation where I kind of tier listed him, which doesn't always happen, but I'll take it when it does. And then Damsel is another situation. I have a ton of matchup experience. They played extremely well. I think particularly because I don't think they have a lot of Roy experience. I don't know if you guys got a Roy in Milwaukee. And I think that Roy does pretty well into that matchup because we can get, besides just having like a big sword to be able to, and like a really good crouch so that we don't have to commit very much in neutral. You also get things like F throw F smash on and like F tech chases because she's such a fast faller, and you don't get true combos of jab all the same way you do against other characters, but I feel really comfortable in that matchup, and so that was I think that they did put up a really good fight, despite the fact that I've played another 100 hours of that because we used to have a PR Bayo in the Midison area for the UW Madison scene. Then I played Stiggy, and I was really happy with that set, particularly in game 3. So I've never taken a game off the corner, so this was a really good performance. I think I was ledge trapping super hard, and they were missing some of their confirms. They kind of like stop their pressure and let me just kind of sit in the corner and crouch and wait for them to commit to an option and then burst through with like a dash forward roll or that kind of thing. But in game 3, particularly, I knew I could win because they were on top plant, camping the hell out of me on battlefield. And I double jumped to top plat. I thought they would jump away to disengage, so I jabbed their shield. The jab caught, jump out, and then I got up air. And in the corner of my eye, I saw Jackson kind of go like, and I said, okay, well, I can actually win this. This means that I'm actually pissing him off. It means I can win this. But there's still the PR diff in terms of just punish game. He was hitting the edge guards that Damsel wasn't like really familiar or ready for. He was just killing me off stage really efficiently with the added mobility of Bayonetta. And game 4, I think, was my best shot to win that set. But I don't know if it was a reaction or just a read, but he got sour dash attack on neutral get up. I fast fall to get low as fast as I could so I could try to like hug the stage and get out of the way. But before I got my character's hurt box down out of the range of ABK, he bursted out off stage right after the dash attack, got ABK up. I tried to SDI through. I ended up really close to him on the side, and then he just got the Vencho where you go 1, 2, 3 with delay off the side, and it just true combos and I die. And I felt the momentum switch at that point. And game 5, it was another situation kind of like the game that we had, Teddy, where it was like, yeah, Roy can win if I get a parry down tilt, and then I, maybe down tilt again into a crazy read. But mostly it just felt like the opponent was in control.
I see you laughing, Ryan, because that's crazy to call it the Vencho when I consider the Vencho getting your Twitter hacked.
Yeah, calling the way Vencho died at one of the Westtown brawls, the Vencho is crazy.
That is the Vencho though. Like it is that I will never forget that that cause I was watching that live the game 10 grands, and he's up the entire game 10 and then suddenly dies to ABK out towards the blast zone, up B, ABK again, 1, 2, 3 fair. So tough. Shout outs to Astigmatism. He played amazing.
All right, we got very little time left, but we can cover the scoop really quickly.
I think it was pretty standard. It was like I don't think there was anything crazy. Takaiga beat me, which is a really good set. I was also, I don't know. He honestly outplayed me, so that was good. I gave him a handshake after that set. I think it was the first time beating me too. And then Untitled lost to Shimp. Me and Untitled just spent the rest of the scoop playing Pokemon, so it was fun at least. And then I don't think anything else crazy happened. Fatalis over Pack Smash, so he had a pretty good run. And then it was a typical Vento dub. Well, I guess this time over Eric. They played 3 sets this tournament.
So how much time do you think we have left? How long do you usually want this to run?
We got like 5.
Oh, we can. Wait, hold on. Like just for the local recap or in total?
In total.
Well, we could do more if we have him on.
Yeah, I'm down to go a little longer.
We can go a little over just because I do want to talk about
our little thought project of the 10v10 or 15v15.
Yeah, I think that this is a funny concept of the Midison versus Midwaukee 15v15, and I will say before this this all started, we kind of had a Sophist made a comment that it actually is better for Midison the smaller you make the pool, and I was like, that can't be right. We have so many good players here in Midison, but looking at the Milwaukee depth, I think that may be correct. I think maybe perhaps it's best if we go down to an 8v8 or something smaller even. Y'all have a lot of good players.
This would be a lot of fun. I think, of course, the whole Milwaukee versus Midison, it's just so funny. Like, it's just so funny because we both have tournaments around the same size. What's also funny, if you might have noticed this, is that Westtown Brawl and Thursday Throwdown are currently on the same number of the series. Did you all
really?
No,
I did not know that.
I did kind of that.
It's not the same week. So, for example, like since this week, it would have been, what is it? Westtown Brawl 136 was this week. It was Thursday Throwdown 136 or 137 this week. So then it's going to be Westtown Brawl 137 starting this coming Monday. So it's like off by 1 week. But it's
No way.
it's just funny how that all worked out because they both had a long and storied history. But like there have been periods of the tournaments being on short hiatus, like for
Mhm.
Thursday Throwdown's case, and so it all is just evened out. And now that they both have stable venues and will be running pretty much the same weeks, I expect it to stay this way for a while. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's
So,
funny.
Yeah.
But in terms of the 15v15, I think it'll be interesting if we kind of like. I mean, instantly, I can't lie, and not to be a fake Madison person, but there's no chance we win this at all. Like, I think it's like 0.
Really?
That's
I think it's doable.
crazy. I think it's possible with an upset. We just got to get a big performance from some of the like less recognized people.
Because like we just need Vento to jab train, like comment, and then we're chilling, right? Like
True. Wait, hold on.
So
Also, I think this would be interesting in not in a crew battle format, but in like a kind of say jam slam format where it's like 1 versus 1, and then that
Sure.
counts as a point. Or either way.
Right, because then you could think about like if the lower end players have a higher chance of beating like the upper end players of the other bracket, whereas like with
Right.
crew battle you can optimize the matchups and the counter picks. What I will say, and I think this is sort of the reason for this maybe being a little Milwaukee favored. Milwaukee had the benefit of just having really high talent concentrated at UW Milwaukee and constantly like playing each other every single week. But also they were people who were like fighting and beating PR before this process was even happening. And so you look at the list of EOS, Ichigo, Chico, Samurai, and then me to an extent. I joined a little later. Like I've never been a UWM student, but I just was very present at those events last year. And we all just kind of have played each other an extensive amount. And throughout that whole process, like you'll probably recall how like Ichigo was ranked a couple times. EOS was a gatekeeper for a long time. Probably, if he hadn't gone on the hiatus at the time he did, probably would have been ranked at this point. Chico was literally 1 away 2 seasons ago, and is basically 1 away this past season too. If in the PR discussions, Chico was very close once again. All of these players have been very good for very long, and the fact that like they're able to do that is great. And what I will actually say though is that Midison is with the ladder system that y'all have been doing there is really great because that's creating a similar environment for that.
Nah, don't
Like,
gas him up. No.
Don't gas him up. Don't gas him up.
But despite that, I think Milwaukee has been doing that for longer. And I think the players on the cusp of being ranked or like in state have a better shot against the equivalent players doing that in Madison. I think that's just like
I agree.
I think if we switch out Mazen for a Morgos.
Okay, it was a good podcast today, everyone. Have a good day. Yeah, hell no.
Now you have a chance.
I was about to be humble. I was about to say like because I feel like I go kind of even with EOS and with you, Teddy, because I think like even though like that's possible for me, I don't think I'm a better player, and like that's like tough because that's like the bottom of our list, and we need to make upsets, not go even. You know.
I just think it'd be funny to actually run this at a tournament. Of course, you get nowhere close to the optimal like group of people in each because we were talking about taking like we got to take Dro out of Milwaukee because of his inactivity. We got to take Kaysen out of Madison for his inactivity. And then you also have people who are active who wouldn't show up to this hypothetical crew battle or Sajam Slam type format. But it would be super cool. It's just fun to think about,
Yeah,
for sure. But I think, sadly, I don't think we'd get close. Oh, we get close, but I don't think we'd win.
I think it's doable. Like, bro, RVDT will just lock in.
But
if Ruben locks in, it could be possible.
Who is he locking in against, bro? Sonic? He's not beating Sonic.
Bro, I've seen that man do like -1 million matchups. Bro beats Samus on the regular.
Dude, crew battle is just kind of if it is crew battle format, those are like literally anything can happen.
Yeah.
Back in the re-entry days, North Cinder versus Cold Crew, they had Imran, who is like top 3 in Minnesota perennially, and Caden, and we still won somehow. Like their team's way better than ours. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah. There's always the upset potential.
But anyways, while we have you on here, Sophist, we want to have you yap a little bit about your love for statistics? You're not even like a formal math teacher, are you?
Well, no. So I was teaching math and then I switched over to English. So I have since forgotten how to do all the math things. So I'm actually a fraud now because I don't teach it anymore. So I forgot how to do it. So,
but you kind of integrated shoe stats with the scene. Now he makes a little graphic for Wisconsin, and you also run like the bracket for the scene, which is pretty cool. I think even though it's like, I think it's not to be taken super seriously with like the artificial ranking it makes, it still really helps to see like upset wins and tally up like results really easily. So what got you into that, and like what's your passion for it?
Well, I think when I started picking up the bracket, when I was starting to like fill it in, I had noticed that it had been around for a few years, and it was combination of like Javes and like Rifflip were like working on it in years past, and they weren't, you know, consistently updating them. Like they'd be thrown together for the end of the PR season, but I just thought like, well, I just want to see how people are doing over the course of the year. And also what I was slightly annoyed about and just wanted to do myself was I want to have everyone have character data, and like so that you can get a kind of a snapshot of who's playing who in the scene. And so I just sort of was like, hey, can I do this? And of course they're like, sure, because it's not like they were wanting to like do it more. So I just was like, this seems fun. And it's really not that much effort. It's just keeping up with it is all. But the way that sort of crosses over with the shoe sets though is Steven Shu. He is a DDD player. I knew him a little bit from back when I was in California because I was a Pepperdine alumni. I did a lot of collegiate stuff in Pepperdine. I didn't cross over with him directly through that, but I did see him at some tournaments like in San Diego when I was out there. He was always like, he's very like a computer oriented, like computer science oriented guy doing a lot of like data related to that too. And so I was sort of an early adopter of his system for ranking things. And he's just become more and more prominent as the months have gone on, right? He got signed by Luminosity. And so although it is now sort of legitimized by Luminosity, I will say this, and it's true for both the bracket and shoe stats, like it shouldn't be taken that seriously, especially when you're just trying to like actually think about who's placed above who. I think it is reasonably accurate. Maybe if you're, say, looking at the top 50, I'd say that everyone is about in, like, within 5 spots of where they should be, I'd say, with, like, maybe 1 or 2 exceptions.
Give or take, like,
within
30,
the top 100.
30-ish spots if you look at, like, yeah, like 30 or 40 spots if you go lower.
I think as you go lower, it's maybe, like, 10 spots, give or take. I don't think it's really as much of a variance as you might think there is. But that's partly because everyone's close, right? Anyone in the 70 range could beat someone in the 30 range on a given day. Like, even though statistically, I think it's a pretty good reflection of how people are expected to do at a tournament, because it is a quote-unquote seeding algorithm. Upsets happen all the time, right? And so when you put a group of people, like if you take a snapshot of 20 of the people who are on that top 100 and seed them into a bracket, someone who's 35 on the algo is going to only be seated probably 1 spot above someone rated like 57, right? And then if the 57 person beats the 35 person, it's a seed upset of 1 in an actual tournament set. You know what I'm saying? So when you put that in the perspective of just like a 20 to 30 entrant local tournament, the gaps are not that large. It only looks large when you put it up as a snapshot of the entire scene. So that's sort of my thought on it. I think it's very fun to follow, but I was also talking to Teddy about this right before we went live. But if you're someone who wants to be known, right? Like as a good player, and you're right on the cusp of that, this is a system that can cause a lot of motivation, but also a lot of anxiety, right? Like a lot of anxiety. And so it's a mixed bag, because there have been discussions in the scene about how stats are like the worst thing that has come to the Smash community and has created horrible mentalities. And, you know, there's a few people who fall into that sometimes. And that just happens. I think it's human nature to sometimes take these things seriously, but then also in a dangerous way sometimes. But I also think there's benefits to having goalposts, right? Like PR is a goalpost, but even just having all these mini goalposts that you can sort of create by just having like a larger ranking, I think it's cool. And I think that there's a number of people who have wanted to attend more and get better because they care about this meaningless ranking. I think it shouldn't be taken that seriously, but for the people who see it as motivation, I don't think there's a big problem with that. I think it's a benefit for a lot of people. So
I think
again,
I think it's really cool, like to
I
have
think
something
it's cool.
like that. As long as you take it like, like you said, in moderation.
Well,
This is also my last month on it. I think
Really?
as of next month, I will not be hitting the 8 event threshold in the past year.
Damn.
So
Wait, I can't even
might be
believe
it.
you've had 8 in the last year.
and he's been going up
Yeah, that's
every
crazy.
single list they release. He goes up
No.
without attending
Well, it's-
anything.
It's 8 in the past year because like all the B2Ls and Smash Clubs from last spring are being counted right now.
Oh wait, but you just went to like 2 Smash Clubs recently, right? So you still got some.
I went to 1.
So
So
he'll
that's
drop
you
off.
extended your.
Yeah. Also, Mazen, let me just say this. This is the thing that everyone always says. They're like, how did I go up if I didn't do anything? It's because people are dropping off, okay? Like people
Yeah.
who didn't attend, they drop off, and then that's reflected as you rising. When,
Wait, you should
yeah,
clear
you
up
could
like
also,
anything with the whole thing if you want to now. If there is anything that people like
Oh my
FAQ
goodness.
you,
I
you
feel
know.
like people know that. People should
they
know that it's
should,
just
they
kind
should
of
know
an
this by
activity.
now, I think.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
does say
I
that
just
on
think
the
it's the same
image.
thing.
I was just messing with you guys. I knew that. So.
Sure, bro.
I feel like people are taking you seriously, man. I don't know if you realize the extent of your influence here.
Hey, if you guys are
But,
ingesting the slop right now, you better listen up real good because I told you guys if there was not 10 comments on the last episode, there wouldn't be another one. So we're not releasing this episode until we hit 10 comments.
They're not even gonna see this if you don't release
You're not even gonna see it.
it.
Anyways,
Uh,
to round us
any
off,
other questions?
to round us off today, I was wondering, Teddy, if you could make amends with us. I think you did us very dirty on the Super Smash Brothers Baskin Edition Habits podcast. Well, I think me aside, I think you did Ankit dirty by not including him. So I think we can throw a redux version of your.
I'm kind of scared after what Baskin said.
Yeah, Baskin
Okay,
said
so-
you aren't memorable.
Wait, no,
to me.
don't tell him. Don't tell him. Let him say it
No,
first.
I
and you
heard
can-
it. I was going to say
Okay,
the same
you-
thing because I
He
watched
was
the podcast.
there. What do you mean?
And
Or you
Aaron,
were gonna say the same thing? That's crazy.
basically, yeah.
No
Here's the
way.
thing.
Mhm.
But I wasn't going to say it the way Aaron said. I was going to like put a slight spin on it. And the spin is that when we played at Cross Up,
Spin is that your ass.
no, the spin is that, and you kind of said it earlier, I was not playing well, and I did
Mhm.
not have a chance to analyze how you were playing. And so when I was playing the set, you just hit some up air confirms and killed me early, and I'm like, dang, that was good. And honestly, I couldn't think of like things that I could do better against you at that time because it was a best of 3 set, and I didn't really have time to adapt. I didn't really feel like I was
Was it
in a
best of
good
3?
spot to
Oh,
do
I think
so.
it was. Yeah, it
Best of
was.
3.
Yeah.
And honestly, too, Aaron has been saying that like he had played you in the past, but it had been a long enough time that he didn't have a lot of things to say because of that. And
Yeah.
of course, he was hamming it up because he was on the podcast, but it really was just that
Yeah.
there wasn't enough of a chance for us to really have an analysis of you, and that was true of like some people, right? Like we were spitballing on a couple people where we weren't really sure on it because we wanted to include as many people as possible realistically, but of course there's going to be more. Like if there's Whitewater
Yeah.
people, Aaron's going to have a lot more to say. If it's Milwaukee people, I'm going to have a lot more to say. Just naturally, that's how it would go.
Yeah.
But I will also say, Teddy, I will rescind a little bit of what I said in the original podcast because of one thing, and that is because in our last set, you made me very scared. And the entire prong of what we had said in that podcast was that you didn't really pressure people off of openings. Now, the thing is, though, you had like killed me really early multiple times. So like that needed to happen. But once that happened, then I was like, okay, I could die here like really early. Because like game 2, I was in a huge lead. Well, basically, you got a huge lead on me with the jab F smash. I then brought it all the way back, and then I was in the lead. And then I almost choked it, per se. I didn't really choke it, but you just made a huge comeback really quick at the end. And then I was scared. And then, like, at the end of game 3, when you snuck past me on ledge, and then I was in the air, and then you were chasing me with 2 up airs, and I directional air dodged back to the center of stage. I don't do that, okay? Like, that is not a thing I do. But that's what I did in that set. And so if that isn't what is if that isn't enough to say that maybe you were actually pressuring me the way you needed to. I don't know
Let
what
me
else.
tag team here if you want actual advice from somebody who analyzed the
Damn,
game.
I just got glazed. I'm riding the high.
Let me counter that glaze. I think you are terrible on ledge. For somebody who wins the whole game on ledge,
Actual facts.
you just
Actual
play
facts.
awful. You rolled into, because whenever you play Samus too, right? You just roll into their charge down. They're charging the down smash for like 10 seconds, and you just roll into it every single time. I'm like, what are you doing? Same thing with Gordo. You lost the set because you just rolled into the freaking 10-second charge down. Like, what? How are you so bad on ledge?
I will actually tell you why, and the reason why is that Roy drop from ledge side B is unreactable. And so if anybody is setting up ledge pressure, I autopilot to that option and it will win. So if you are short hopping at ledge, Asa does this a lot versus me. He tries to do like full hop, land, and then react to something. But it doesn't matter if you're full hopping in. And as long if you're not like, even if you're directional air dodge, if you air dodge last second, you're going to catch your landing lag. So I don't have to. I never need the opportunity to practice mixing up my ledge options and learning exactly the right counterplay because I can drop from ledge side B and that will get me out of the corner 99% of the time. But yes, disadvantage habits. I think I'm okay getting juggled. I think that's I'm not particularly bad at that. But on ledge, yeah, I actually do agree with that. I do agree with that. I think that's actually a good criticism.
Anyways, Sophist, you
I will take
Ledge
my
sucks
version,
insane.
this version of my roast, because that was a lot nicer.
And I'll just say one other thing though too, Kit, which is just try to reset when I'm air camping you. That's all I'm gonna say. Because that was now I do have the analysis to say coming off of our set on Monday.
Yeah,
I think you just needed to slow down a little bit.
that's fair.
And Mazen, for you, I apologize for nothing. I still stand by everything that we said.
Stand on business. I love that. I love that.
I rewatched our set, and the only game I mashed in was the DDD game. The Ridley games, we were playing some hella neutral.
We were. I do want to play you again sometime. I don't know when it'll be, but
Yeah, just please don't go.
Come
Ridley.
to B2L or something soon.
Go DDD
You
again,
can.
please, bro. I can't with that
No.
Ridley. That Ridley makes me so sad. I'll be minding my business and I get side B'd and I die at like 50 for no reason. Like,
yeah.
Anyways,
It's fun.
any last shout outs you wanna give out while you're here?
Any last shout outs?
Or anything at all.
Anything at all. Shout outs to the whole scene for wanting me to make that podcast and then it actually getting done. Shout outs to Josh for literally sitting there for 4 hours getting it set up and then just like providing tech support that whole time. He just did that out of the goodness of his heart. Okay. Like he's just great. And so I also shout out to two of you, Teddy and Kit, for showing up to Thursday Throwdown too. I appreciate sort of like the reciprocity there. Like, cause it's not like there's less crossover between Midison and Midwaukee and the other scenes these days, except at regionals. Like there's less of a reason to go out to locals. But just to see that every now and then is nice, and I'm glad that you were able to kind of see what the hub in Midwaukee has become, and it's just been a great boon for the scene in Midwaukee. So
yeah, it was great. It was great. I had a fun time.
Yeah, and shout outs for inviting me on. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having on.
Thanks
man.
for coming.
Yeah, always a
Great.
pleasure.
Have you at some point in the future, maybe?
Yeah,
Again for a reduct.
And if you guys enjoyed the slop that came to you this week, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if I'm being so serious right now, if I don't see at least 200 comments that say thank you, Teddy, for hopping on and thank you for being the stats guy, then we're not doing another episode. We're gonna make sure there's never any episodes of any podcast ever again.
Ever.
Real.
No more Tweak Talks or no more whatever else you watch.
So you guys are gonna lose all
I
your
will
slop.
First, personally find Gavin Dempsey and make him stop.
Yeah.
I'm on speed dial. I'm a Twitch subscriber, so we'll stay in touch. Anyway, thank you, Teddy. Take care. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see y'all next week.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Folks.